Hello, TCI, Jonathan's Refuge, all of our faithful followers and friends. Happy New Year, 2025. Today is Thursday, the 2nd of January of 2025. Wow, 2025. I was born in 1975. This year on September, I will turn 50 years of age. 50 years on this earth. Some of the things I've seen and done. Glad to be here. My message is short. I don't even know if I'd even say it's a message. It's not. It's not a traditional message with 3 points for you to come out of. I guess it's a very simple statement. How you decide to start your year is your choice. And it's up to you to have the right perspective, the right mindset, no one else. And you say, but you don't understand. People get me mad or situations I can't control. You're right. I can't control people. I can't control the rest of the globe. And I cannot control anybody outside of Jonathan Brown. So how do you deal with it? Simply that. You only deal with you. You control you and you alone. So how do you start the year off right or correct? What is the best way to do that? Well, it's real simple. Have the right mindset. I was fighting with my wife on New Year's Eve. I was fighting with her on New Year's Day. Did you resolve it? We did. But that's an omen. It is. It's an omen that you two love each other and you're going to keep fighting for each other. See the perspective? You could say, well, we fought. We weren't doing good. Or we love each other so much that we're going to fight through anything. Do you see the mindset difference? That's how you start the year off correct. But you don't get it. Joe Biden, Donald Trump, whoever you want to blame. Stop. Look at you. Take control of yourself. Stop allowing situations and everything outside of your control, which is everything. Nothing is inside of your control except for you, your mindset, your attitude. Your attitude, I preached a sermon and I've preached it for years, many different times. Your attitude determines your altitude. If you have a negative, low, crappy attitude, you're going to have a negative, low, crappy return on your investment. You are your own investment. Your attitude is the investment. How you deal with it will determine how much you succeed in your life. If you look at everything through the bad eyes, through the sad eyes, through the depressed eyes, through all the complaints and all the, well, you don't understand and they're not nice to me. Do you know how many people don't like me? I have many enemies out there in this world. If I worried about all the people who don't like me, man, I'd never be able to move. I wouldn't be able to run all these companies I run. I wouldn't be the Archbishop of an international ministry and church. I wouldn't be successful. I'd be froze in my feet, not moving, sitting in a closet. But instead, I focus on my mindset and my attitude and how do I control that? Right here to right here, 6 inches or 7 inches or so. And inside of that is a brain this size, about that big, and you control your emotions. But you don't know, I struggle with this. Stop giving excuses. I just watched a man with no legs. He has nubs for legs. They're only like 4 inches off of his hips. And he's on top of one of the tallest mountains, an 8,000 meter mountain. That's Mount Everest. The 14 highest peaks in the world are called 8,000 meter and higher mountains. And this guy's up on, was the 6th tallest mountain in the world. No legs. No one carrying him. Painful. Oh, listening to him explain the pain. But he did it with a positive attitude. And that's why he's on top of that mountain. And that's why he conquered it. And that's why he climbed to the top and made it down. And that's why he's getting paid so much flipping money, because people want to pay a guy like that to tell him, how'd you do it? And they're looking for this beautiful secret formula. I get it all the time. Have you survived all your health crisis, all the surgeries, the heart procedures, the heart attacks, the strokes? And they're looking for a secret, right? What's your secret recipe? I won't share it. Sad part is if I tell you, which I tell people all the time, they don't believe me. It's my mindset. You see, I start my year off with the simple mindset that it's a brand new year. I don't care what happened at the end of last year. I don't care what happened last week. I don't care what happened 2 days ago because I have today. And it's the second day of the year. And let me tell you a little secret. The rest of the year, 363 days, I and I alone will determine my year. Nobody else. Not my wife, not my business partner, not my board of directors, not the men at my refuge, not my church, not the College of Bishops, nothing. Not my family, not blood, not adopted, not friend or foe. Only Jonathan Brown. My favorite character in the Bible is a man named David. He was the king of Israel, the second king. We all know him through the story David and Goliath. And David is the only guy in the Bible that God said was a man after his own heart. That always stuck out to me because David was a man filled with sin. He was a murderer. He was a violent man who lived by the sword. This guy had committed not only adultery, but then murdered to cover the adultery. This man lost children. This man had his own children try to kill him. This guy suffered pain mostly by his own doing, his own hands. And he kept, from the day we hear of him to the day he dies, he kept making mistakes. So what's the secret? How is he the only guy in the whole Bible? Not Peter, not Paul, not Moses the Great. No, David. One of the most wretched sinners. Well, here's my belief in that. My belief is that's because God wanted you to realize, what is it that David did every time he made a mistake? He repented. If you ever hear the song in the Bible, in the book of Psalms, I will dance like David danced. I will dance, I will dance, I will dance like David danced. And he's dancing before the Lord in a loincloth. Back then, the loincloth was something, the ephod. It's a cloth that goes around you like a pair of underwear, okay? But it's a special cloth that only the priest would wear. So he was making a statement that he was not just being the king, he was being a royal priest, and he was dancing before God in all of his nakedness, in essence. Just him in the loincloth, this special garment that only the priest would wear. His wife actually told him he was foolish and embarrassed him in front of his whole kingdom. Because when he brought the Ark of the Covenant back to Jerusalem, he danced in front of the Ark the whole way through. He didn't care that people laughed. He didn't care that anyone saw it. He didn't care. He was just dancing before his God, between him and God. He always repented. He always turned to God. He always openly danced before him. And the only time you see David continuing to get punished is when he put off the repenting or he tried to cover it. And you saw the suffering that came after. But the man still was God's only guy. That was the man after God's own heart. And that's because he's a flawed man like you and me, like any of us. He's a flawed man just trying to get through today, hoping to bring peace and blessings to his family and his kingdom. Isn't that what you and me are trying to do? I know some of you say, well, I'm not trying to build a kingdom. I'm not trying to do any of that. I'm just trying to survive. Well, you can survive like David, or you can get stepped on, kicked to the side, because all of that can happen. I have a visitor in the middle of the message. Little Amber. This is one of our therapy animals here at our nonprofit. We have Belle and we have Amber. She's a sweetheart. Okay. So here's David, a man after God's own heart. And I sit there as I start my year and I think of David and I say to myself, okay, my mindset's going to determine everything. The enemy is at the gates. The barbarian is knocking at the door. Hell is coming unglued. The fires of all the pain and suffering is coming at me. I can see the arrows. I can see the guns and cannons aimed at my head. My enemies are amassed. And I'm messing up more than I can shake a stick at, but no, stop. All you're focusing on is all the bad stuff. All you're focusing on is all the trouble. All you're seeing is stress. How do you think Moses felt when he walked up to the sea and he's got a raging army coming at him to kill him and 500,000 people? Man, did you hear him panicking? No. He just walked out to the water and said, okay, Lord, this is only you can do it. I can't. And then the story of the parting of the sea. Got their escape. Sea closed back up on their enemies. They never had to raise one fist, one hand. There's something to be said in that. Are you trying to fix all the problems? See, I am a person that believes God allows you and me to make our choices. I do not believe God is a puppet master. No. I believe God allows you and me to be our own puppet master. And that's why I look at the scripture and see, okay, God had a choice. Moses had a choice. He could give it to God, or he could say, I'll stand out there and tell Pharaoh. No, he just said, I'm going to give it to God. And I'm going to stand right here, and we're going to get across this ocean. I don't know how. It's going to part. I just don't know how. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need every solution at that moment. Sometimes you just have to walk on faith. And you can't walk on faith unless you have the right attitude, the right mindset. If all you see is danger, trouble, stress, then you're done. You're done. You're burnt already. But if all you see is blessings, yes, there's stress. Yes, there's trouble. Of course there is. But with trouble and with stress comes beauty. Just like this little critter. You know, she never let you hold her. When I first met Cece 5 years ago, my wife, this cat hid in closets. Now, I didn't try to change the cat. I didn't do any of that. Funny enough, all I did was just when I got a chance, I loved on her. That's it. I just loved on her. And now, as she's clawed into my leg, so if you see me squinting, forgive me. She got some sharp claws. But now, she's just a love bug. And she loves to come up to people and talk and meow. And she likes to sit on your leg with her big claw. And she just wants to be part of the family. Had I approached it with a bad mindset, this cat, this calico, she wouldn't be the way she is right now. Now you come into the office and this beautiful creature is looking for love and coming over for it. And you know something? That's because someone had the right mindset. And then the cat decided to say, I feel this good, healthy vibe. So I'm going to go ahead and trust this person. And she started to trust me. And she let me pick her up like I just did. And now we have a beautiful relationship. You see, God and David were the same way. I know you go, dog, a cat or a dog and a human. Yes, we're the same way. You see, David just wanted to do right, but he's human. So he makes mistakes. I'm human. I make mistakes. You're human. Give yourself a break. You're not perfect. Wait a second. I'm not perfect? Well, I tell myself I am. But my good friend Brian always reminds me, like today he called me, he said, hey, you sound better. For those that don't know, I've had about 13 pounds of fluid on my body from my congestive heart failure. And most of it's been just literally my lungs are filled. I should have been in the hospital, but we all know I've done that too many times. So I've been able to learn and have medical attention given to me at home. So I don't have to go into the hospital. I can have it at home. So that's what we were doing for the last week and a half, 2 weeks. And as my breath, as I speak and take a breath, you could hear the gurgling in my lungs from the fluid buildup from the congestive heart failure. And so as I sit there and I'm suffering in this physical position, I have a mindset that I'm amazing. So my buddy, we were talking, and he said, "You sound a little tired." I said, "No, man, I feel great today. Matter of fact, people say I look great." He goes, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Don't get too overexcited. I don't know about all that." So sometimes that mindset, even though he's joking with me, there is a mindset that you have to have. Like, you are beautiful. You're like, have you looked in the mirror? No, you have to have a mindset. I'm beautiful. I am gorgeous. I am sexy. I am amazing. When you have that attitude, everyone around you will see it, and you'll attract like-minded people, like-minded situations. I spent most of my life using these in a violent world. So what do I mostly attract in my life? Violence. But Jonathan, you're a good guy now. I am, but I'm still a violent guy. Make no mistake. I mean, you don't get to walk into the places in the cities that I get to walk into. A couple years ago, you guys heard the story. A pastor couldn't get the police to get their daughter out of a trap house because she just turned 18. And it was all bad. And the pastor and all these people, no one could help them. They came to this guy, the guy that nobody wanted to ask for help from. But I'm the only one that could do it. And so I go into this trap house. I make phone calls and I make the thing happen. I walk into a place with guns and knives and people that are going to kill anyone that walks through that door. The police wouldn't even go there. That's how bad it was. So I walk in a violent world. And unfortunately, I still have that somewhat of an attraction. A like attracts like. So I take things by force. I know, what does that mean? The Bible says take by force. It's talking about fighting the enemy up here, our own self. We have to take ourself by force. You have to force our mindset. That's what they're talking about, not physically going in and kicking a door down. Physically taking control of our mind, our body, our soul, controlling it, because we and we alone are the only people that have control of that. So as we start the new year, I want us to start the foundation right. All the other lessons for the next 52 weeks of this year, guess what? Or 50 weeks, right? Yeah, 52 weeks. Sorry. So 52 weeks this year. Out of all the days that we're going to have these lessons, all of it matters only if you can find the right mindset. Because if you can't get that, if you can't have the proper attitude, then your altitude will never amount to more than what your attitude is. So if your attitude is, okay. I got people in my world. I have a man in my place that his family take care of everything he does, every single thing. If his family all died tomorrow, this person would be in severe trouble because they wouldn't barely know how to even take care of themselves. That's sad. And they're out there all over the world. They don't know how to operate. They don't know how to function in life. They think they do. They don't. They got people that do everything for them. Their attitude is about, And so their altitude in life is going to be, Do you see how that works? Do you ever listen to people and they're like, I'm excited, I'm pumped up, I'm jacked up, I'm the man, look at that. And someone's like, look at that shit on the ground. Yeah, you just heard me say it. Look at this shit on the ground. Or did you see how my sons learned? I want you to hear this lesson. Skagit County, we lived there. Lots of fields, lots of manure. You drive through the field and what do you smell? I roll that window down. I'd say, hey, boys, what do you smell? And of course, they'd say, well, we can't say, but it smells like cow poo. I said, it does smell like cow shit. Yes, it does. To maybe you, but not to me. Take another smell. What do you smell? I smell money. And my son looked at me and goes, how do you smell money from that? And I said, well, you see that field out there? Your Uncle Tyler is one of the largest owners in this valley, his family, of all those fields. And all that manure is manure that you use to create a new harvest for the new season of food or flowers. In his case, the largest tulip grower in the world. So when I smell poo in the field, I go, oh man, I sure smell money. Now, my sons got this lesson at an early age. When they would be driving with people in the car with them, other families, you'd have someone say, oh God, it's that time of year again, smells like poo. My kids would go, let me take a whiff. Nope, no, that's not poo. That's money. And they would be like, what? And then the parents would call me like, how do I get my kid to have that attitude? And I said, well, why don't you have the attitude yourself? Because that's why my kids have that attitude, because I had that attitude. Because I don't care if it smells like crap. I'm using that crap to fertilize my next harvest. So go ahead and crap all over me. Keep it coming. I'm going to take it. I'm going to put it in my field. I'm going to turn my soil. I'm going to take one step at a time. I'm going to keep a positive attitude and say, thank you for that crap. And I'm going to put it into my garden and wait until this year's harvest. Wow. That's the difference between a person who has the right mindset and the right attitude. Everything else this year, guys, I can promise you the world will be your oyster. You'll need to just fine tune small things, not big stuff. Because once you have the mindset and attitude right, everything else is your oyster in the world. God, the secret to success that God has given everybody is simply that. Have the mindset of David. I'm human. I'm flawed. I know what I'm trying for. I fall short all the time, but I keep trying to be better every day. When I make my mistakes, I ask for forgiveness, and I don't make the same mistake twice. And that, my friends, is the key to how David was the only man after God's own heart. So as you start your year out, and I close the message, understand that it's up to you how your year is going to go. My year went great last year. Do you want to know why? Because I said January 1 is going to be an amazing year. 2024 is going to be so big. We're going to have this many houses. We're going to have this many organizations opened. We're going to make this much revenue in this company, this much revenue in that company. The church is going to expand here. And I made all these goals so big, and we didn't hit almost any of them. We did. We fell short on all of the goals I set. But we were so successful. Now, how does that work? It goes back to a saying that I coined 30 years back. Dream a dream so big that your failure becomes a success. I dreamed so big last year and I failed in 2024. I did not hit my goals. I didn't even come within 10% of them. A couple of them I got to like 90%, but I failed about 10% on almost all my goals. And that's because I dream big. I don't dream so like, I can reach that and get a little win. I don't need that. I don't need that kind of stuff. I want a goal, and I'm going to strive to get it, and I'm going to make it bigger in 2025. And I plan to have twice of goals of what I set for last year. And I'll fail this year because I fail every year. But every year I keep raising the bar, and my attitude raises the bar. And then what happens? I adjust my own course, and I keep going up, and my altitude keeps soaring. And everyone keeps saying, I don't get it, but you're just a man. You're flawed. I see you make mistakes. I see you mess up. I don't understand it. And that's because you don't have the mindset. The mindset's what you got to get. I love you guys. 2025, it's your choice of what you want to do with it. And it all starts this moment, right now, this week. Do you know that all the people that make a resolution in January 1st, they actually quit within 2 weeks? I just saw this on the commercial. I went ahead and double fact checked it. And it's true. They actually have on the second Friday of January, it's called Quit Day. That's when most of all people from January 1st that set a goal quit 2 Fridays into the month. Wow. How sad is that? That's pitiful. And you want to know why? Because none of them have a mindset, baby. So stop setting all these crazy things that aren't going to come to fruition. Start setting one thing. I'm raising my attitude. And in raising my attitude, I'm going to raise my altitude. I don't want a new car. I want a new house. Then change your attitude. I want a new job. Then change your attitude. I want a new relationship. Then change your attitude. Everything rises and falls on your attitude. Come in pissed off, everything else will be pissed off. Come in happy, not everything will be happy. But you will find that you'll elevate those people that are pissy and jerks. You'll elevate their attitude a little. And in just that little attitude adjustment from you, it'll elevate everyone around you. And then people think, God, he's just amazing. She's amazing. Yeah, because you learn the secret. It's your attitude. It is your attitude that will determine your altitude. Write that in your heart. Tattoo it on your wrists like me. I love you guys. I want to see your goals for 2025 come true, but you can't make any of them happen unless you have the right attitude. Seek God in 2025 to give you the proper attitude. And if you need help, reach out to our church. We've got pastors and bishops and people all over the globe ready to help you. We love you guys so much. God bless. We'll see you next week.